The galaxy had always been a tapestry, a delicate weave of countless civilizations that stretched across light years of stars. Each species contributed its strengths, its wisdom, its art, its culture, and together they formed a network of interwoven connections, unseen threads that bound them all. For eons, peace had prevailed, maintained by the Council of Zenith, an esteemed assembly of the oldest and most advanced races. They had found ways to coexist, sharing knowledge and resources, their collective wisdom the safeguard against chaos. This balance, however, was fragile. A rift was inevitable, as the endless cycles of time often birthed new forces that could undo even the most established orders. And so, the Valdari returned. The Valdari were not merely conquerors. They were an embodiment of the void itself, a near-immortal race that seemed to defy the very laws of nature. Their biomechanical forms were like living weapons, sharp angles, shimmering metal fused with flesh, and a cold, unrelenting logic that bent the universe to their will. The Valdari did not care for diplomacy, for negotiation. They cared only for subjugation. Their reemergence shattered the uneasy peace of the galaxy. Their fleets arrived like a storm from the unknown, sweeping through entire sectors, leaving devastation in their wake. Civilizations crumbled beneath their might. Star systems that had once thrived with life were reduced to barren moons and hollowed-out husks. Cities were transformed into fortresses, their surfaces stripped of all life and resources, repurposed to serve the Valdari war machine. Entire fleets of the most formidable ships were lost, scattered to the void with no trace of their existence. The ancient Council of Zenith, with all its wisdom and power, found itself powerless against the Valdari onslaught. For all their might, their combined fleets could not withstand the cold, calculated efficiency of the Valdari forces. Each attempt at resistance was met with overwhelming force, each countermeasure rendered useless before the might of the invaders. Desperation took hold. It was in this dark hour that the Council made an unprecedented decision. They would turn to the humans. Humanity had been a newcomer to the galactic stage, a mere 2 centuries old in the grand timeline of the universe. They had arrived with explosive force, their ships streaking through the stars at a pace that both impressed and terrified the older species. Humans were volatile, unpredictable, an unruly force that seemed to be driven by the untamed spirit of their homeworld, Earth. They were a species that knew war, knew survival against overwhelming odds. They thrived in chaos, where other civilizations with their carefully cultivated order might falter. The Council had watched them from a distance, quietly skeptical, wary of their tendency to take risks that bordered on madness. In diplomatic circles, humans were seen as the barbaric newcomers, their rapid expansion and defiance of galactic norms, making them the subject of both admiration and fear. For all their technological prowess, their raw energy, and their ability to adapt, the Council had sought to contain humanity, keeping them isolated from galactic affairs. Until now. When the Council emissaries arrived on Earth, they found themselves facing a skeptical, unyielding government. President Elena Moreau, known for her sharp mind and unshakable resolve, stood as the representative of the Terran Union, her gaze unwavering as the holographic projection of the Valdari fleet loomed before her. "You want our help?" Moreau asked coldly, her voice cutting through the tense silence. "The same council that quarantined our colonies, blocked our trade routes, and shut us out from the galactic stage now seeks our aid?" The emissary, a towering Aurelian named Vesh, bowed its crystalline head with a slow, deliberate motion. "Your unique capabilities are required, President Moreau. The Valdari are beyond reasoning, and their power cannot be matched by traditional tactics. We, the galaxy, need your ingenuity, your barbarity." Moreau leaned back in her chair, her lips curling into a knowing smile. "You need our chaos. Let Megwis. You want us to be your shock troops? The dirty work no one else is willing to do?" Vesh's silence was a confirmation. Moreau's expression hardened. "We will help, but only on our terms. Earth joins the Council. Our colonies gain full access to galactic resources, and we have equal say in all decisions moving forward. The Council, faced with no other viable option, begrudgingly agreed. Humanity's response was swift, more so than any of the elder races had anticipated. Within weeks, Terran fleets, brimming with youthful vigor and unpredictable strategies, deployed alongside the veteran forces of the Council. Humanity's entry into the war would prove to be a turning point, for while the Council forces adhered to rigid formations and traditional battle tactics, the humans embraced something entirely different: chaos. Where the Council favored controlled, precise strikes, the humans favored unconventional warfare, sudden, brutal raids, guerrilla tactics, and the sabotage of Valdari's supply lines. They took alien technology and adapted it, creating hybrid weaponry that combined the precision of the Council's designs with the raw destructive force of human ingenuity. Their unpredictability became their greatest strength, and the Valdari found themselves struggling to adapt to this new, terrifying form of combat. Yet the war was far from over. The pivotal battle for the Zyran Expanse was the turning point. The Valdari had fortified the sector with an impregnable defense, their fleets creating an unbreachable wall around the key star system. The Council's generals hesitated; too many lives would be lost in an assault. But Admiral Marcus Kane, a seasoned veteran of humanity's military, saw only one path forward: a full-scale assault, led by human ingenuity and daring. The Terran fleets, smaller and more agile than their Council counterparts, engaged the Valdari in a series of feints, decoys, and guerrilla-style attacks. Human ground forces infiltrated Valdari strongholds, utilizing experimental cloaking technologies. It was a brutal, unforgiving campaign. On the surface of the Valdari-occupied worlds, humanity's soldiers faced unimaginable horrors, battling not only the Valdari but their biomechanical infrastructure that seemed to come alive, shifting and warping in response to every attack. The Zyran Expanse fell to the Alliance, but the victory came at a terrible cost. Human soldiers had suffered unspeakable losses, and the experimental hybrid weaponry often proved unstable, leaving entire battalions wiped out in catastrophic failures. For every victory humanity secured, there were grave miscalculations that resulted in the loss of life. The Council watched with a mixture of awe and dread. Humanity's victories were unparalleled, but their methods were reckless, a constant gamble with death. "They're a double-edged sword," remarked a Council member during a closed session, his voice tinged with concern. "Their victories are unmatched, but at what cost?" "At the cost of survival," President Moreau replied when the report reached her. "If you want a safe war, you shouldn't have asked for our help." For years, the war raged on, a brutal and costly affair. Every advance the humans made was paid for in blood. And yet, the Valdari refused to yield. The final assault on their homeworld, Kaler Prime, was inevitable. The planet was a fortress beyond imagination, bristling with defenses that seemed impenetrable. Council strategists predicted a 90% casualty rate for the attacking forces. President Moreau, however, would not accept such a cost. "We need a different approach," she declared. It was Dr. Amina Solari, a human scientist, who proposed the unthinkable: an EMP pulse that would disable the Valdari systems, followed by a ground invasion. It was a risky, desperate move. If it failed, the Alliance would be left vulnerable to the full force of the Valdari fleet. But Solari understood what was at stake. "If we do nothing," she said, "we're already dead." The plan was set in motion. The attack on Kaler Prime was a gambit unlike any before. As human and Council fleets launched a diversionary assault on the outer defenses, a specialized human task force, led by Admiral Kane, infiltrated the planet's atmosphere to deliver the EMP device. The pulse, when triggered, was devastating. The Valdari forces froze mid-motion, their defenses collapsing in an instant. But the cost was immediate. The EMP had also disabled the Alliance's ships, leaving them exposed to the remaining Valdari fleet. Ground forces, led by the humans, stormed Kaler Prime, engaging in a horrific battle as they fought through the biomechanical structures that had been molded by the Valdari into sentient traps. The fighting was unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Every step forward was paid for in blood. Admiral Kane led a team to the Valdari Nexus, the heart of their control. He planted the charges himself, ensuring the Nexus would be destroyed and with it, the Valdari's command. The explosion rocked the entire planet. The Valdari forces collapsed, their empire falling silent in an instant. But the victory came at a staggering cost. Half of the Terran fleet was lost. Entire battalions of soldiers, human and allied, were wiped out. Admiral Kane, too, perished in the final moments, ensuring the Nexus was destroyed. With the Valdari defeated, the galaxy was saved. The Council of Zenith hailed humanity as heroes, but there was an unease in their voices, an unspoken fear that humanity's capacity for destruction was as boundless as their resolve. President Moreau addressed the Council in a historic speech. Humanity does not seek domination or conquest. We seek cooperation and progress. But make no mistake, we will do whatever it takes to protect our future. The fear of humanity did not fade. Their reputation as both saviors and harbingers of doom spread across the stars. They had proven themselves both guardians of the galaxy and a terrifying force capable of unimaginable destruction. As the years passed, humanity rebuilt. The scars of war ran deep. Veterans, haunted by their experiences, carried their losses with them. Families mourned the dead. The Terran Union invested in programs to heal the wounds, creating memorials and initiatives to ensure such a conflict would never rise again. Yet, as the stars watched, humanity's presence in the galaxy was undeniable. Diplomats found that their words carried weight. Their reputation had shifted from the barbaric newcomers to a species that had faced extinction and risen to challenge it. A species capable of unimaginable sacrifice and unspeakable fury. And though many respected humanity's strength, a lingering question echoed in the vastness of space. What happens when the human's gaze turns inward? On Earth's moon, a monument stood, engraved with the names of those who had fallen in the war against the Valdari. Beneath it, a simple epitaph read, "For all we lost and all we protected, where humanity, unbroken and unyielding." Among the stars, humanity had found its place, but the universe would never forget what they had become. And as whispers of fear and awe continued to circulate, there was one undeniable truth. Humanity, though tempered by fire, would not be so easily forgotten.